A lot of people have come together as a really big, again, like mishmash of different efforts who are all people who want the same thing, which is for the rat to not be in Batavia and for places like churches to not support fascism. So from what I know who's here, Rochester DSA and then Genesee County DSA, and that's both Democratic Socialists of America. Genesee County DSA is a branch of Rochester DSA. And then there's a couple of like other GLOW area comrades, like I myself live in Livingston County, but I'm a part of both of those organizations. And I know that Rochester Mutual Aid Network is here, and I know that there are folks from Buffalo, and I am drawing a blank on what organizations they're with. Possibly it's Buffalo DSA, and possibly it's like a Buffalo workers group.
And so, why did you come out here? I mean, the event is next week, so
yes.
Why are you out here right now?
So a lot of folks here had been resisting the event since it was going to be in Rochester. The first time I heard about that was in mid-May, and we had been telling the Armory to not allow this type of event, not to host, not to give these people a platform for their hateful ideology, and not to elevate this as a valid viewpoint. This isn't, conservative, low taxation. This is, LGBTQ plus people and their allies should be executed for treason. Peddling COVID conspiracies and election denials and myths about George Soros and just all kinds of things that are not a valid place for discourse in our society. This is not a valid viewpoint. This is not an equal and opposite side. So a lot of these folks have been saying that stuff since May. And about a month ago when the Armory backed out, the Cornerstone Church stepped up. And since then, people have been like trying to kind of do anything that they can to make their voices heard, to let other people know. There was an initial effort between lots of clergy leaders here in Batavia to actually get them to, rescind their offer to host the event. They chose not to. And so people are just here both to meet an emotional need, to just express their emotions and let people know how they feel and that they don't agree with this and that this has no place in Batavia or anywhere else, but also because it's helpful for us to talk to each other, to organize ourselves and to figure out what we're going to do next. Because although the event is next Friday and Saturday, fascism is not going to leave after this weekend. All these things elevate this ideology, and these types of folks are going to be emboldened, and this stuff is going to continue. So the stronger and better we can organize, the more we can show up the next time something happens.
And so you'll probably be out here next week along with...
So we are planning some sort of events for the day of. I doubt there are going to be a whole lot of counter demonstrations here just because of logistical needs in the space. There's someone driveway. And I know that logistically here, they don't seem prepared for if there are actually 3,000 people that come to this event, they're not going to be able to handle that logistically here by itself. So for us, balancing safety risks with what we actually realistically can accomplish, we're looking for definitely some sort of event, but most likely not a sort of counter-protest demonstration here on the side of the road where we could be quite vulnerable, especially with, again, a space that can't handle the number of people in it and people who have a strong proclivity to physical violence.
Right. So, because that's what a lot of people are worried about.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the thing about fascism is, everybody here resisting fascism would be content if the fascists went home and just didn't do this event and kind of renounced those views. A fascist won't stop until those standing in their way are dead. So the safety risk is pretty profound.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's a lot more people that aren't okay with this event coming who maybe weren't able to be here or didn't feel safe coming out to physically be here. But when people look at how these conversations are received, both of y'all have social media pages, and the comment sections, people have all kinds of things to say, and it can look like the general sense is that people are basically cool with it, except for a couple dozen people that aren't happy about it. But I really feel that that's not necessarily true. The people that might be for this type of thing are often the loudest, but they don't necessarily represent the majority. And there are a lot more people here who absolutely agree with us that are physically not here right now.
Right, yeah, I see. I mean, coming here, people have covered their face, they've covered their license plate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have people taken threats from here?
We know that some individuals have received threats. The people that, like clergy leaders that have made themselves, out and spokespeople for different events, the folks that were out in front of City Hall. I know in other activism I've done, in 2020, I held a vigil in the village where I live in Mount Morris. I received personal threats. So this has been an ongoing thing for people who have been organizing for the last couple of years. And so we've just become much more aware of the need to keep everybody safe, especially around folks that, again, have a strong proclivity to physical violence.
So that's your main concern of this event, this physical violence?
Yeah. Well, and that's this whole event is the speakers that are coming here advocating for physical violence against LGBTQ plus people, saying that parents of trans children should be put in jail, saying that parents who vaccinate their children should be put in jail. You know, this is rhetoric that aims to amp people up, that aims to tell people, you know, you should be ready for war, you should be ready to fight, and you should be ready to fight for our country. All these metaphors, all this rhetoric serves a purpose. It's not an accident that people get amped up and are preparing for this idea where they are physical violence. And when we think about the shooting that happened in Buffalo in May, and we think about January 6th, and we think about the type of rhetoric that led the people to do those things, these are different. These are on the same tree, maybe a different branch, the exact same tree. So we got to call a spade a spade. We call a fascist a fascist.